Hello, sweet sisters. It is Thursday, January 14th. How is it that time passes by so fast? Thinking of you all today. I'm sending you sunshine from wherever you are. Hello, sweet sister Terry, and Karen. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. So I was thinking about you all yesterday, working with you and watching you and going along the way with you. And I've been thinking about a lot of things this year. And what's interesting is that so much of, let me know how you're doing today on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I'm not doing very well and 10 being I am rocking it out, okay? Today's a good day. I'm meeting people at all ends of the spectrum today. Hello from Southern Ohio. I love Ohio. And hello, Cindy. So I was thinking about the past year and our belief systems in the world. And one of the things that I noticed, okay, so please understand that I teach a lot of corporate leaders about belief systems. And in my line of work, I call it mental models. And mental models are the lens through which we see the world, okay? Let's have a little fun with this. We don't always know that we have them on, okay? Mental models aren't good or bad, but the danger is when we don't know that we have them on, okay? That's where the danger comes. And so I work with leaders all over the world about, where are they with their mental models? Sometimes they work for us, sometimes they work against us. But one of the most interesting things I've seen is that sometimes our mental models are so strong. Good morning from Seattle. I'm glad you're at 11 today. Yay, Diane. The thing about sometimes mental models are so strong that we can't see another option. Okay, we get very fixated that this is the way to be. Terry, I'm loving your attitude today, sweet sister. Love that. Love that. And so, yesterday I was talking about some of the things that I had learned over the past year, and I forgot that we were already in 2021, so forgive me. I mentioned to you about a moment that I had of clarity on Friday, March 13th, and I should have said 2020, not 2019. It's a little bit like when you go to write a check, in the new year, and your brain hasn't switched over. That moment of clarity came from me last March, Friday the 13th. I told you I remember exactly where I was standing when the COVID thing hit. All of my business had been canceled in a matter of 7 days, overnight like that. And I had that feeling that day when I saw that he resigned from the Berkshire board as well as the Microsoft board, and something deep inside, I could not explain it, but something deep inside, I knew something was terribly wrong. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Cindy, you're very sweet. Thanks for the sunshine here on a cloudy day. I'm sending it straight your way, Gail. I figured that's part of why I do it outside, so you could just drink in the sunshine. Well, as things unfolded throughout the year, there were some things that were really disturbing to me, because I knew that the world had a belief system that what we were being told was true. That's why so many of us kept believing it. But there was a nagging feeling that I had. When you have those feelings, any of you ever have that? When you have those feelings and you can't explain it yet, but you just simply feel it in your gut? So I watched as things unfolded and we all started having to wear life with a mask. Seems like an innocent thing. Except that I had just finished reading a book by Kathy O'Brien called The Transformation of America. Trance, Transformation of America. And I knew that she had been involved. She was a survivor of military programs and some people who had used masks to suppress both her and her daughter as a way of teaching them submission. So I had just finished reading that book. Now, those of you that are struggling, I'm not suggesting that book. Only those of you that are very rock solid do I suggest it. It's a rough book to read. But I remember I had just read that when this was unfolding, and I was like, surely it's not, right? So I had that piece of data that was making me take off my glasses, only that everyone around me was still believing it was the way it was. And then I started to watch. So for many of you, you've sent me private messages asking if I'm a Christian. I am a Christian. That is what I was raised in, okay? I teach women and people from all over the world. So I tend to talk in more generic terms, okay, in more general terms. I want to be clear about that because years ago, I came up with the fact that I lived by the tree philosophy, as I've told some of you earlier. You see a tree in all of its glory. It is magnificent. It stands and does what it's supposed to do as a tree. I just have this fascination and love for trees. But never once have I seen a tree hold up a sign to say, I am a tree. Never once have I seen a tree bang someone else over the head or their fellow tree to say you're a tree, say you're a tree. They simply are, in all their glory. And isn't that a wonderful thing? So that's what you often see me, that's how I express my divine essence, is I simply am. I simply am. And no problem, Cindy. I had several people ask, so I'm clearing that up because I want you all to know who I am, and always check your own heart's discernment. My sweet sisters, here's the thing, is I always want you to tune in to what you believe inside. That's what's happened to us for so long, is that we keep believing everybody outside of ourselves instead of tuning into our heart space, okay? So I will never be here telling you how to believe. In fact, I'm a genuine believer that anyone that's out there telling us how to believe is something to be suspicious of. So, first thing that happened, I really started to have doubts about this. I'm not getting into all the debates. I know there are lots of debates out there. I had a different piece of information that made me view these things differently. Well, then I remember in April, when all of the stores had all of these signs out, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. I started to see all these stickers along the aisles, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. And I remember going through April and May, again, being baffled like many of us were, but I had this sinking feeling because every time I went out, I looked around and that's all I could see was 666. 666. Now remember, I had this piece of knowledge and then I had that. And I was like, surely it's not. Surely it's not. So I'm not coming to anything conclusive. I'm simply saying, why wasn't it 5 feet? Why wasn't it 7? Why wasn't it 8? Now, add into this all that I know now about human trafficking and child trafficking and how prevalent it is and what those belief systems are of the people who are actively involved with it. I now add in all of that information and I'm like, And then I wanted to share with you a book I ran across last year. Okay, I'm offering this simply to say that sometimes we can have different perspectives, and I want you to simply say, don't feel safe in any herd. That's not where you're really validated. You got it, sister. So this book, I didn't turn the mirror on, but it's called The Four Horsemen. This came in my life last year, and it says the hidden DNA of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google. Now, excuse me, it says the four. It doesn't say the Four Horsemen. It says the four, but inside he refers to this group of what he says he believes they are possibly, okay, that they are possibly. He calls them literally on page 2. So are these entities of the Four Horsemen of God, love, sex, and consumption? Or are they the Four Horsemen of the apocalypse? I believe the answer is yes to both questions. Wow. That's something else entirely, isn't it? And so for the first time, many of us have read Revelations. I was always intrigued and scared of it when I was a kid. But is that possible? I didn't think so over the past year until this weekend. This weekend I watched as how our life was significantly impacted by this. Now, I've had a sneaking suspicion about the tech industry for a while. I've worked with them. I, in fact, left working with them because I could no longer be complicit in supporting some of the things that they were doing and the way that they were treating people. And what was so difficult is the people that were in there were a lot of really, really good people. I want to be clear about that. A lot of magnificent people. And there were some people that I began to realize had no interest or concern about humanity at all. So why am I bringing all of this up for you today? is because sometimes the way we have perceived things or the way we've been taught things means that we put on our glasses, we put on our belief systems a certain way, and that's what we see. We only see those things. And what I want to offer to all of us is that we each have an opportunity to perceive it differently. You know, someone sent me an image, I'll post it here below, but they sent me an image yesterday and they said if you take a jar and you fill it with red ants and black ants, they'll all crawl around just fine. But if you take the jar and you shake it violently and then pour it out, the red ants will try to eat up all the black ants and think they're the enemy, and the black ants will try to think the red ants are the enemy, and they will fight until the death, until they're all dead. The question is who is shaking the jar? Who is shaking the jar? Well, sweet sisters, I believe someone is shaking the jar. I don't pretend to understand what's happening here, but I want to offer you is asking yourself, what lens do you have on, sweet sisters? What lens do you have on? I'm glad you like the shaking the jar analogy. And so simply offer these things to you. They're things that have been on my mind, and I'm simply trying to open up. You know, when I talk to people, I think so many of us had certain beliefs about the way things would begin to unfold. Will they unfold that way or not? I don't know. But here's what I do know, because I want to go back to that. Remember, we've been talking about that. Here's what I do know. Well, hello, Kelly and Linda and Janet. I'm so glad to see you all. What I do know is that we are equipped for these times, okay? So I'm bringing you much love and much sunshine today. I do know that we will find our way through all of this chaos. I genuinely believe that what is in the darkness, that will be revealed, and all things will come to the light. Anything that is being done to harm humanity, I believe we are going to watch come straight to the light. There's nothing else that can be hidden. I, for one, I'm excited about what's on the other side of that. I am excited. Daphne, I'm glad to see that. You saw that I put it on that other post because of all the comments and chatter that was happening. I'm excited about what's on the other side of all this chaos, sweet sisters. So remember, keep your flashlight on. Do what you need to do to be sure that you're solid, like we talked about with the eggs cracking, and hone in on what you do know, okay? I see lots of hearts. Hone in on what you do know. You know, I simply have a deep, deep feeling that there is somebody outside of our country that is shaking our jar. It is on the physical plane and the unphysical on the plane, what we can see and that which is unseen, okay? So I'm so glad you all are here. I struggling empath. Okay, so I do want to address that one last thing before I go, because I've got a class to teach. Please understand that I know many of you are new. You are welcome to check out my website, kimfaith.xyz, just to get an idea of what I'm about. It is not for people personally. It's more corporate oriented, because that was my work up until this past year. I will be doing more and more of the other soon, but just if you want to check me out. I've tried to be very transparent in the book when I published it, You're Lying Inside, and I want to make sure that you feel good, okay? I'm here to support you through all of this. So let's talk quickly about empaths, okay? My son says I have rose-colored glasses on. God has helped me and protected me. So the glasses he gave me are love. You know, I'm not saying they're bad. If you know you got it on, by all means, have on your rose-colored glasses. Not a problem. But I do think it's important for all of us to at least ask some of those hard questions. So for those of you that are empaths, these are people who walk through the world and you pick up other people's energy. There's a lot of you that are that. We've been taught that if we can't see it or measure it, that it's not real. Please understand that. How many times do we say, well, do you have a study for that? Or what are the facts? What do you, how do you back that up? Empaths, simply, you're like a cosmic sponge that you walk through the world and you can feel the energy. Please understand that every time that we do or say something in the world, it's like we put a rock into a pond and the ripples go across, okay, all the way across the world. And lots of us are doing this, okay, all the way across the world. What's important is for empaths, especially, some of you absorb this more, is to be more protective in your space. So whether that's through scripture, whether that's putting your aura up, whether that's strengthening your chakras, whether it's claiming and inviting and asking Archangel Michael's and your divine team to surround you with protection and your home with protection. I do that over all of my family, close and extended, and over all of my work. I wrap all of my work in protection. Those of you that are empaths, because I'm hearing from many of you saying, you know, what's this about? This was something I had to teach my own daughter as well. Sometimes when you are feeling uncertain, it may not be yours. It may not be yours. So I want you to really ask yourself, begin to get really good at that. Sometimes if we need to burn off the energies, lighting a candle, having some essential oils, going to the natural store and getting some Bach flowers, B-A-C-H, that you can put in your water. It's not easy being an empath. Christy, I hear that and I know that. And the issue is that the emotions, that the energy that's happening in the world is escalating at the moment. So the intensity is really big, okay? The intensity is really big. So protect yourself. Do some research. Find yourself a book about spiritual protection. Whether maybe it's the fact that you keep your favorite scriptures around. Maybe it's the fact that you keep a rosary. You know, I got a rosary when I was in Rome. I told you about that when I was at the Vatican. While I'm not Catholic, I had a dear friend teach me that just touching each bead and placing a prayer and doing that many prayers around the rosary would be important. I hear you, Chrissy. So find a way to keep yourself grounded. So for some people it's affirmations. For some people it's silence. If I don't have silence and meditation time, I tend to not be very grounded. I have to have time during the day that I don't talk to a soul. So find what it's like that is important to you. So I offer all of these to you to simply say, be open. Be open to just seeing things differently. Things are not what they appear to be at first glance. Exercise is another good one, Cindy. You're exactly right. Things are not what they appear to be at first glance. I am offering these thoughts to simply fortify you. Fortify you for the changing world that's ahead. Whatever is in the dark is going to be coming down. So when we see it and we feel that fear and we go, oh no, because it's the way we used to like the world, know that it's okay. Know that it will be okay. Because much like when we see a piece of land, sometimes the old has to be torn down so that the new can be built. These are exciting times, sweet sisters. Do remember that. So I'm sending you all much love, much light, and continue with your comments, and even feel free to message me and send me your thoughts. I am holding you all very close to heart. We're in this together, and I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Happy Thursday.